Our guest today has been Lincoln Athletic Director Sam Knox. And why don't we go ahead and jump in a little bit? You have a raffle fundraiser going on. You care to talk about that a little bit?
I'd love to, Cameron. Thanks. As everybody knows, the dire situation of school funding in Illinois right now is very difficult to manage at times. And we, for a couple of years, have had a uniform rotation where we take turns on allocating money to different sports teams to buy new uniforms so they don't have to use their own budget to do that. And that uniform budget has gone by the wayside for this year, so we are pooling our efforts for kids in all activities, from band and chorus to football and basketball and everything in between, to kick off the school year with a uniform raffle fundraiser. And tickets are on sale for $10. We haven't officially started that yet, but we will do that the first week we're back in August. And tickets are on sale for $10. It's a continuous raffle throughout the entire school year. We plan to conduct the first drawing homecoming week near the end of September, and then draw once a month all the way through next August. And prizes every month are one winner of $400, one winner of $200, another winner of $100, and the fourth prize is a $50 prize. And if Cameron Kurtz puts his name on this ticket and gives us $10, he'll be in the drawing every month. Even if we draw you as the very first winner in September, your ticket goes back in the pot, and you could win multiple times on the same ticket.
Well, there you go.
And our goal, hopefully, is to raise enough money this way to offset the cost of uniform costs for football and golf and basketball and track and swimming and diving, everything that we have at the high school. And the good news about it for the kids is that they'll be in quality uniforms. It's all a Nike program, so all of our kids, as the years go by, will be wearing Nike uniforms. And I think they'll be excited about that because that seems to be the hot brand right now.
Well, good deal. Football season's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. It won't be much longer until November rolls around, and we'll be getting into basketball season. And, of course, that big kickoff for the basketball season every year is the holiday tournaments. As far as the Thanksgiving tournament goes, in recent years, it has been a very successful and a pretty tough tournament. Years ago, a lot of Lincoln people, you really could not say that the caliber of teams that have joined the Thanksgiving tournament in recent years, very good quality programs, and they always bring a good showing, and that's nice. It helps those schools, and it helps Lincoln, and it gives them kind of a feel for the competition that's out there. How is it that you go about selecting a holiday tournament when it comes around to when it comes to the Christmas tournament? We're up at the State Farm tournament up in Bloomington for many years. Now, in the last couple of years, been in the Collinsville tournament. How is it that you go about selecting a holiday tournament to play in?
Well, first of all, we work hand in hand with our head coaches, and we go with their wishes and their wants on which teams we invite to come to our Thanksgiving tournament and where we go for Christmas time as well. And it's kind of exciting. It's kind of fun to try to attract those teams to Lincoln for the Thanksgiving tournament. Last year we had Rochester as a tournament member, and we knew that they were going to struggle in the tournament, and it just so happened that their football team went all the way to the semifinals, and then turn around and play the likes of Lincoln and Centennial and Althoff the next week in basketball. So Rochester is not going to be in our Thanksgiving tournament this year. Morton High School has replaced them, and Morton, I think, will be very competitive. Close to home, should bring a good fan following as well. But our Thanksgiving tournament for this year is the same teams as last year: Althoff, Cahokia, Danville, Centennial, Morton, and Lincoln. The same format as always. And then the Christmas tournament, the boys are going back down to Collinsville, and girls will be at Peoria Manual. And the girls at Thanksgiving this year as well are at the Taylorville tournament too. So it's a kind of a mixed bag of how you get those teams and tournaments on your schedule. Coaches have a pretty good network around the state, and they even talk during the summer months. Hey, who's playing at what tournament, and what openings are there out there? And you learn a lot from the coaching network as well as where you want to go.
And I've been around here a lot longer than both of you guys, but it seems like we've always, no matter where we've went or if we've hosted a holiday tournament, we've always drawn a crowd. I can remember back in the late 80s when Chicago King was the #1 team in the nation, and they came to our tournament down here. They had Marcus Liberty, that group of guys. Then I can remember when we won the Collinsville tournament back in Donnie Isles and those guys in like '89, Brandon Booth. That team had Conzo Martin, LaFonso Ellis down there in Collinsville. We beat that team. They had just won the state. East St. Louis had just won the state football championship. Coming into the tournament, and they say that's the only loss that they've ever taken. And a real quick story, one time I ran into LaFonso Ellis and Conzo Martin in a gas station in Kansas City, Missouri on my way to Denver, Colorado. And had seen them, knew who they were, told them who I was and where I was from. And they told me that the only game they ever lost in their high school career in football or basketball came at the hands of Lincoln High School, and not once, but twice. So, good story.
And that is true. Steve is right. Lincoln always does. They bring a very good draw with them, a very good showing. Even at these tournaments, the away games, and it really doesn't matter which sport it is, for girls and boys sports alike, teams, wherever they go, the Lincoln fans, they stay true and they follow the team.
Scheduling Sacred Heart Griffin for the last game of the year was the best thing you've ever done for the Lincoln football program, Sam. I'm serious. People don't. I've been saying it for years, because even if we happen to win 1 or 2 games, so let's say we're 2-1, in that 4th or 5th game, you go into Sacred Heart, or they come here and they beat you 55-0, that's a gut wrencher, man. I don't care who you are. That's hard to pick yourself up from, even if you've got a 2-2 record. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it a few years back, but to know that you could possibly seal your own fate for the playoffs before you ever even see Sacred Heart has got to be a big lift off of those coaches' shoulders, first and foremost.
That's a good point.
I mean, it is.
Let's just hope we have at least 5 or 6 victories before we get to week 9 this year, because you'd hate to be looking at this as a must-win and playing the Cyclones.
Sure. Right, but then again, if it is a must-win, they're going to leave it on the field.
That's
you
true.
couldn't have put them in a better position. I mean, honestly, when I saw that schedule, I thought, I've been saying it for 5 years, why not do that, get some, that way your season is pretty much determined before you get to that game. They don't make your season, I think it'll help them. I really do. And something probably all the parents are wondering, what is your rule with the heat as far as, let's say, football, and I'm a football coach, run the Lincoln youth program, so I'm kind of interested too. What is your parameters for heat? Is it a certain degrees? Is it the heat index? What do you guys go by to decide whether to practice or not with the heat?
Well, very good question, because we're going to face that here in August when things get started on August 11th. The biggest rule of thumb is common sense. Don't put kids out there in conditions that you wouldn't want your own children going through. And, fortunately, we have had healthy kids through the fall sports practices and things, and we haven't had any serious situations come up, and you hope they never do. The IHSA has some guidelines that they expect us to follow on heat index, etc., and what kind of practices you put kids through. And football is always the biggest concern, because you're outside in the hot sunshine and you've got the full pads on and things like that. But our coaches have been outstanding in using the common sense principle, give them plenty of water breaks, give them plenty of time to cool off between practices, etc. And they've got some tents out there for shade if kids do start to feel a little bit queasy or whatever. Missy Aper is our athletic trainer. She's always there with ice and water and things to cool kids off. And the common sense principle goes a long way.
Okay, so there is no certain degree.
No, there's not a magic number of if it reaches 99 degrees with 60% humidity, you cancel practice. No, you don't.
Because that's what I try to tell them. There's, like where we play, there's a breeze, the sun could be behind the trees, and it's kind of hard to cancel a practice when you come home from work and it's still hot, it's 92 degrees out, and you're thinking, well, should I have practice or not? But yeah, you look outside, and my son's been out jumping on the trampoline for 3 straight hours. The neighbor kids are outside chasing each other around, riding their bikes, and I'm thinking, well, if you can jump on the trampoline for 3 hours, you can go to football practice for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how common sense, I guess. So.
And if you're in the time frame where you can do full pads, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, boys, it's pretty darn hot today. We're going to go helmets only, or helmets and shoulder pads only. We're going to take it easy and do a lot more teaching and learning that way, instead of kids being worried about, when am I going to pass out? When am I going to faint? It's awful darn hot out here, Coach.
Right.
And like I said, the common sense principle goes a long way, but there is no magic number on you have to cancel practice if it reaches a certain degree.
Gotcha.
It's time for us to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we will be wrapping up our interview with Mr. Knox, and we will be discussing some of the great specials we have out here at Jake's Furniture. Stay tuned.